We have Stephanie White getting in Caitlin Clark's ear. Again, Caitlin Clark rolling her eyes like, damn, do you ever shut up? We have tickets for tonight's game. Folks, reach in between your couch. Go into your car and check underneath your seat. Check in your little center console how much change you got lying around. $9 tickets. That's resale. Standard, $11 tickets. Folks, a meal from McDonald's costs more than an Indiana Fever ticket.
What happens when the biggest attraction in women's basketball suddenly becomes the center of a growing conflict between a franchise and its own supporters? That is the question hanging over Caitlin Clark, the Indiana Fever, and Stephanie White. The numbers tell one story, the comments tell another. For more than a year, Caitlin Clark has been the engine driving unprecedented attention toward the Indiana Fever. Every sold-out arena, every national television appearance, every spike in merchandise sales has been connected in some way to Caitlin Clark's arrival. Fans invested emotionally in Caitlin Clark because they believed they were watching the future of the WNBA unfold in real time. But now something has changed. Instead of excitement, frustration is dominating conversations surrounding the Indiana Fever. Instead of celebrating victories, many Caitlin Clark supporters are openly questioning coaching decisions, offensive strategy, player roles, and the direction of the franchise itself. The anger isn't limited to a handful of comments. The backlash appears everywhere. Fans are questioning Stephanie White. Fans are questioning roster decisions. Fans are questioning whether Caitlin Clark is being utilized correctly. Most alarming of all, fans are beginning to question whether the Indiana Fever truly understands why so many people started following the team in the first place. And when ticket prices begin falling to levels nobody expected, the criticism becomes impossible to ignore. What started as frustration is beginning to look like something much larger, a revolt.
And what we're seeing with the Indiana Fever this year is a masterclass on how to lose a fan base and how to take your main attraction and make her play third fiddle behind dribble, 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 and behind the hub. Folks, keep in mind, Caitlin Clark was cooking first quarter against the Atlanta Dream.
At the heart of the controversy is a belief shared by many Caitlin Clark supporters that the Indiana Fever have drifted away from the style that made Caitlin Clark a phenomenon. Caitlin Clark built her reputation on pace. Caitlin Clark built her reputation on creativity. Caitlin Clark built her reputation on controlling the game and forcing defenses into impossible decisions. Yet many fans watching the Indiana Fever believe Caitlin Clark is spending too much time playing within a system rather than being allowed to dictate the system herself. That criticism lands directly at the feet of Stephanie White. Stephanie White becomes the focal point of nearly every complaint. Fans repeatedly connect offensive stagnation, blown leads, and inconsistent execution to coaching decisions made by Stephanie White. Whether those criticisms are fair is almost secondary. The perception itself has become powerful. When fan sentiment reaches the point where nearly every social media post becomes a debate about Stephanie White, the organization faces a public relations problem that extends far beyond wins and losses. Caitlin Clark supporters are not merely reacting to one game. They are reacting to a pattern they believe has developed throughout the season. Many expected Caitlin Clark to be the unquestioned centerpiece of everything the Indiana Fever do offensively. Instead, they see possessions flowing elsewhere. They see stretches where Caitlin Clark appears less involved. They see moments where the offense slows down, and every time that happens, frustration grows. The danger for Indiana is that expectations for Caitlin Clark are unlike anything the franchise has ever experienced. Fans are not simply evaluating results. They are evaluating whether Caitlin Clark is being placed in the best possible position to dominate. When supporters begin believing the answer is no, criticism multiplies quickly. And that is exactly what appears to be happening.
You got Mo Billings. I'm just going to stay positive, but please let CC run the show and see what happens. What else do we have to lose at this point? Crowd needs to start chanting, fire Stephanie White or trade Caitlin Clark. I'll trade you this Indy courtside ticket for that bunch of bananas. Shout out to you, Gru. Shout out to you. I can't watch anymore. Sure, let's promote a player averaging 5.7 points per game, 4.7 rebounds a game, and stealing $850,000.
The psychological side of this story may be even more fascinating than the basketball side. Caitlin Clark entered the professional ranks carrying extraordinary expectations. Every game is analyzed. Every pass is discussed. Every coaching decision becomes a headline. Very few athletes in league history have experienced this level of scrutiny. That pressure doesn't affect only Caitlin Clark. It affects Stephanie White. It affects teammates. It affects the entire Indiana Fever organization. Historically, superstar athletes often force franchises into difficult balancing acts. A team wants to develop multiple contributors. A fan base wants maximum superstar involvement. Those goals do not always align perfectly. For Stephanie White, that creates a unique challenge. Build a balanced team, and some fans complain that Caitlin Clark isn't touching the ball enough. Build everything around Caitlin Clark, and critics argue the offense becomes too predictable. The challenge becomes finding equilibrium. Yet when losses occur, equilibrium disappears. Every possession becomes evidence. Every substitution becomes controversy. Every coaching decision becomes ammunition. The transcript reveals that many Caitlin Clark supporters have reached a point where patience is wearing thin. Instead of discussing long-term development, they are demanding immediate changes. Instead of trusting the process, they are questioning the process. That shift matters, because once fan frustration becomes emotional rather than analytical, every result gets magnified. A close loss feels catastrophic. A coaching adjustment feels personal. A strategic decision feels like a direct statement about Caitlin Clark's role. That emotional environment creates enormous pressure on Stephanie White and the Indiana Fever, and it explains why reactions have become so intense.
Hell no, she's your flair. So worried about the All-Star votes that actually make the team better. F. Mitchell, damn. Folks, we take a look at the tickets now. $9 tickets. $9 tickets, man. You take a look at standard. $11 tickets and still a ton of tickets available. The Indiana Fever.
Nothing captures the severity of fan frustration quite like ticket prices. Ticket prices are often a reflection of demand. Demand is often a reflection of excitement, and excitement is often a reflection of confidence. When supporters begin losing confidence, markets react. The transcript repeatedly emphasizes the shocking appearance of extremely low-priced tickets. Whether driven by resale dynamics, scheduling factors, or broader market conditions, the symbolism is powerful. For Caitlin Clark supporters, low ticket prices become evidence that something is wrong. For critics of Stephanie White, low ticket prices become evidence that fans are disengaging. For the Indiana Fever, low ticket prices become another talking point fueling public criticism. The larger concern isn't the dollar amount. The larger concern is perception. Perception influences attendance. Perception influences media narratives. Perception influences organizational pressure. If fans continue associating Indiana Fever struggles with Stephanie White, pressure on the coaching staff increases. If fans continue believing Caitlin Clark is not being maximized, pressure on the front office increases. And if frustrations continue growing, every future decision becomes more controversial than the last. The franchise finds itself navigating a dangerous situation, not because of one game, not because of one coaching decision, but because expectations surrounding Caitlin Clark have elevated every discussion to another level entirely. That is what makes this story so significant. The stakes extend far beyond the next matchup. They touch the future direction of the franchise itself.